I'm Julie and welcome to Tiny Chick Pottery YouTube channel. For the Northern Lights combo, I first put on 3 very thick layers of obsidian. And so far, 2 coats Smoky Merlot. It has 2 coats of Smoky Merlot. You can see here where it's dry and there where it's wet. So the first thing I did was the obsidian layer. And once it wasn't shiny anymore, I put on my first coat of the Smoky Merlot. It went this way, I went little waves. And then I went on my second coat of Smoky Merlot. I just did a thinner line here, and that's where the purple will be darker of the Smoky Merlot, and rich purple it is. And then after that, we'll put on some seaweed. But first sounds like walking backwards, right? I'm gonna put another coat, just randomly putting another set of waves. I'm trying not to hit the exact spot where I went the second time, but that's nice and thick. And I do put it on the inside rim, like so. When that is dry, I'll come back with the seaweed. Today I went to the chiropractor because less than a week ago I took a fall while roller skating, but I'm A-okay. I just went and got a little adjustment today, a little better, so that was one piece of news. Let me give you a 360-degree view of my art studio gallery space. There you go, was that too fast? I can go slower. So here's the sink behind me, the random shower that exists in here, which we can't take out, we are renters. No, we do not use it. Over there is some of my work, and on this side is Sketch Art Studio, my friend Robin's space, and she is sharing this with me. We have a storage room back here. Today I am working on the Northern Lights combination on a couple of pieces, and I wanted to talk about it because I see people who post it and they're like, it didn't turn out, it didn't have like the bright vivid colors that yours did, and I wanted to explain the kind of paintbrush that you use. A big fluffy fan brush is what I use, and I get great results. And I can show some of those results here. But anyway, I get great results with this. Also, I have noticed that some people's kilns, when I fire it at the community kiln, I do not get great colors with my Northern Lights glaze, ever. They also fire it and my copper doesn't develop properly if I'm using that, what is that called? Not ancient copper. Yeah, ancient copper and saturation gold. I don't get great results at the community pottery studio. But in my own home kiln, I don't overcrowd things. It's small, it heats very evenly, and I get great results. And I was practicing a new trick in my driveway at home, and I took a spill and I smacked my butt against the ground. I understand that these glazes have been really hard to find for a long time. I got my obsidian at dickblick.com, and when it didn't arrive because they were out of stock, I ordered some more, and then another bottle arrived. So really, I'm just hogging all the glazes. I bought a gallon size of Chun Plum because that was the only one of that I could get. Sometimes, yeah, the gallon is a great deal when you can get it. But I have plastic here because it helps the lids come off easier. Is the seaweed that you will need to do the Northern Lights glaze. It is PC42. This one is C1. And Smoky Merlot is PC57. You'll need that too. Now, if I couldn't get obsidian, I could do a trick. Okay, so there's another, this is one of the celadons. There's another dark celadon that works, but you'll have to put black underglaze on first and then layer on another one of the dark celadons. I think it was gray or something, but it's so transparent, it magically worked. You know, if you're in a pinch, you might try that. One more coat on this crazy funky mug. I like fallen mugs. I've got a thing about it. So I'm just gonna put a little more on this one while we're waiting for the other one to dry. I like to work multiples and just keep track on a piece of paper what layer. This one is 3. When I'm working on multiples, I do have to keep notes because I won't remember where I'm at, and if I have to leave, like say it's the end of the day and I need to leave and I've only got it partially glazed, I'll leave a note on it, how many glaze coats because I won't remember the next day. Wipe the bottom while I'm here. This is very awkward. I feel like I could drop it. There have been questions online about, I got a crack in my mug handle. How do I fix it? Don't fix it.
Take a hammer to it. A lot of people are trying to get away with fixing things that shouldn't be fixed, and mug handles are just, they're containers for hot liquids. It's just not safe to let a little crack go, so I smash mine when I find a crack.
If you've been following me since the tiny pottery shed, you'll know that I had a dry sink, which is, I call it a dry sink. It's not really dry. It's just doesn't hook to water connection, and the water drains through it into a bucket, but it looks like a sink. Want to see? So it looks like a sink, but there's a bucket underneath that catches the water, and I just use this water tank. That way I make sure that all of my pottery clay and my glazes go down that drain instead of a drain that will get clogged and I'll get in trouble with the landlord. I don't want to be in trouble. Same thing, really thick fat brush on it, and I'm gonna go do swirls. In a second you should see, there it is. See it? See that magic trick? It's right there. The seaweed is what makes those beautiful rich blues. And you got to watch the seaweed. Do you see that drip? Stop it where it's at. The further that seaweed drips down, the more likely it is that this thing will stick to the kiln, and we're gonna put a cookie under it anyway. A cookie is just a flat piece of bisqueware that you roll out. You can roll it out with a rolling pin, cut a little circle, and stick those under any pots that you think might drip. It'll protect your kiln shelves. I'm gonna wait for that to dry. In the meantime, I'm gonna do some on the interior, just doing waves up and down, and I'll show it to you. So I'm going to do this 3 times and vary where the little stripe goes. I'm gonna overlap it to be sure in some spaces not, so you get a lot of variation and movement on your pottery piece. Second coat. I'm not being stingy with the glaze. Don't be stingy with the glaze, but you gotta watch that green, because as you're putting it on thickly, sometimes it wants to drip, so just keep an eye on those drips. So now I'm just doing like a weave, a woven pattern there. Put a little more on the interior, and this is just gonna be beautiful. Now check for obvious pinholes, and when it's dry, just rub those pinholes with your finger and get those things closed up, because they will remain. The glaze will not creep across. Now I'm using a cone 6 pottery with to a cone 5 firing with a 10-minute hold at the end. So it gets right up there towards cone 6. I'm gonna blow this dry because I'm in a hurry. I wanna go home tonight. If you wanna see how I do a video sale, the camera's moving. Are you done? Okay. If you want to see how I do a video sale, I will put a video sale here for you to see as an example. You can do sales like that, and what you do is you record the sale, you upload it to YouTube, and then you post it to your Facebook or your Instagram, wherever you have a good following, and people can come over and they can view the pottery in your hands while you're turning it around and showing them the size and talking about it and everything. They feel more connected to you and are more likely to buy your pottery that way. I thought that might be helpful if you sell your pottery. And I know a lot of people are trying to find new ways to get customers, and maybe your customer is further away, or your influence group is at a larger area, and by showing it to them in your hands, it really gives them a sense of what that piece is like, as opposed to just seeing a still shot. on a website with a price tag. And you can talk about it. You can talk about why your price is your price, or what materials you used to make it, or what inspired you, or whatever. But those things are things that you can't just do with a stagnant picture on a website. Just gonna hit this one with the second coat. Sometimes I'm going over the area that I already went, and sometimes I'm hitting a new spot. So the outside of that one's done. I'm gonna give it a lot of green on the inside. The green turns blue and the red turns purple. But seaweed on its own is just this kind of, I guess it's an okay glaze. I'm not a big fan of it by itself. But in this, gorgeous. And this one just needs one more swipe around with the seaweed glaze. And I hope you guys aren't having too much trouble getting glazes. I know in Europe, the Amaco glazes are really in short supply. And I don't know what's all behind it. A lot of things have been in short supply in the last few years. And thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope that you learned something, or if you didn't, I hope you were entertained and just being together with me today. I appreciate you being here. Wipe. And remember, glazing is just a way for you to ruin a perfectly good piece of pottery. Glazing is never my favorite. Throwing is really my favorite. Throwing and trimming. I love trimming. But the glazing, I feel, is just like the punishment that you take for being allowed to throw pottery and trim pottery. You got to take your lumps just up a little bit around the edge, just to make sure that glaze doesn't stick. So far, the Amaco colors, as long as they're not layered at all, they don't travel. But once you start layering colors, then you get that travel influence. I don't know about oatmeal, but seaweed totally will stay put if it's not mixed with any other colors. But then it becomes magic when you put it together with other colors. Okay. Have a great day, y'all.